this is a new, they called this the Luke Rudowski update, and it came out. I thought it was pretty interesting. Shout out to all my short kings out there. But Tinder
says
has
the 6'7" giant.
well, so this
says the jolly green man.
Yeah. So Tinder rolls out. This is what's so crazy about this. This is why it's gonna backfire. 99% of people that pay for Tinder are men. Women don't pay for Tinder. It's a supply and demand thing. So Tinder will sell all sorts of stuff that gives you a better shot. I'm sure women aren't buying that. Tinder is now testing letting users set a height preference. This is obviously for women who are saying, I only want to date men over 6 feet tall. And coincidentally, there's no weight selector, or there's no, she has a brown baby from a previous divorce selector box.
Can't filter for single moms.
You can't filter out single moms.
Or plastic surgery. I want to filter out all the fake cake makeup nonsense that they have on their face.
Yeah. I've never used Tinder before, but I mean, I know how it works. You know, and of course people are like, haha, men are mad.
Yeah. I sent you a user experience that's pretty accurate, by the way. If you want to know what Tinder's like, I sent you into the private chat. If you read that, that's how Tinder is for guys now.
All right, let's see. Open Tinder. Extremely pretty girl. Swipe right, no match. Extremely pretty girl. Swipe right, no match. Extremely pretty girl. Swipe right, no match. Literally the fattest woman I've ever seen in my life. Swipe left. Hey, you just missed a potential match. If you could buy Tinder Gold for $149 a month. You can unlike people who have liked you, so you never miss a match. Yeah,
that's it. That's experience. You know.
Yeah, I wish I could go back to that. There's a great video done by Homath that talks about how basically the way this works out is many women, even if they're a 5 or a 6, see themselves, they don't match down, so they only want the 10s. Men will.
We watched this once
down.
on Estrocat.
Yes, we watched it. Yeah. So I forget what he calls it, but it's pretty brilliant. And I want to obviously hit you with a hashtag, not all women, but
all of them, every last one of them.
But based on, you know, my interactions with men who use this app to try and find dates, it's pretty much all women. If you're like an average guy, you have like no shot. Because even the girls you should naturally be matching with, you know, they don't want you. They want the 10s too. So it's really just a hypergamy, or it's basically like
hypergamy.
Hypergamy, yeah. It's just a tool for chads to bang a bunch of chicks. That's what it is. Now I do have friends that have met on Tinder and got married. So it's not like it's impossible. But adding a height slider, I'm hoping that men like
boycott.
They right, they're the ones that pay for this. So they should be pushing back against this.
Let me ask you a question. What's to stop men from now just lying about their height on Tinder? You know what I mean? Like, you know what the way to get around this is? Just don't be crazy. Don't say that you're 6'8". Just everyone say you're now 6'1".
But you can't do that if you verify your account, which you have to do with an
the driver's license.
And your driver's license has your height on there.
Yep, it's true.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
There's got to be a way around that. Just get a fake ID just for Tinder with a different.
Violate federal law.
Look, if it's just a novelty and it's for a dating app, don't use it at a bar or anything. Yeah. But there has to be a way around it.
Even in the act of getting a fake ID, it's illegal.
Well, look, you could Photoshop. You could Photoshop your ID probably reasonably, but like, I just think that this is a very sad thing. Like this whole height preferencing is so fake and gay. Like there is nothing that, you know, like there's no height of a woman that I would rule out. Like that's so crazy. This is an exclusively woman thing.
Yeah, but there are weights they rule. I mean, okay, so
there are weights, but you can't control your height.
Well, and the thing about it for women is like I'm 5'9", so I'm tall for women. for me to date someone who was taller than me, that starts at like 6 feet basically, because I'm very tall.
Yeah.
But
right.
if you, I cannot tell you how many times my, really good friends who are 5 feet, 5'1" would be like, I only want to date a guy who's 6 feet. Like, girl, calm down. First off, you'll break your back. And second off, just date someone. If she dated someone who was 5'9", that person would still be 9 inches taller than her. You know what I mean? Like, it's just different. So, as a tall lady, I think that there are times when it's fair to be like, I don't know if I want to date someone who's shorter than me. Yeah. What I think is interesting is now I wonder if, all those like conservative dating apps that are out there, and like people will write articles being like, there's no one on them. You have to set them for like the whole country or whatever.
Yeah.
They should now implement both a height and a weight screening option and see if that attracts
children. Like you should be able to, there are so many, I'm not going to say the word because I think it has racist connotation, but there's a meme of like the white girl with a sleeve of tattoos. That's like, I'm a queen and I'm looking for someone who's going to treat me like a queen. And then she's like holding a biracial baby. It's like, it's like, and it's like
stereotypes exist for a reason, Jeremy.
Yeah, I was like, girl, you are a walking red flag. You bring nothing to the table. You don't get to make demands, and
it's crazy out there, man. There's these short, fat, oompa loompa hoes out there, thinking that they deserve royalty, right?
Yeah,
right. Because like maybe Drake looked at him once at a club, right?
Yeah.
And they don't understand, like all these like high level dudes, they're just gonna pump and dump, right? They're gonna get
of course, right? Yeah.
But they think that they're entitled to the grandest of grand people because a guy pumped and dumped her. All right, but
that's her level now. She said it at I want tens. Yeah.
Like, oh yeah,
Drake I got a 10 once, so I should always have tens.
Yeah, I once gave a handy to Drake at the club, so I deserve Drake now. You're not Drake, sorry. You're not on my level. They're so delusional and insane that this has been a deliberate hijacking of Western civilization meant to create a depopulation agenda, which is probably a byproduct of some kind of sentient AI system that is already running a depopulation agenda. That's my opinion on it. And I think women are the most important part of it, since they're the most susceptible towards groupthink and propaganda. And
I think, I think you're right. I think that also on many of them are unwillingly have been groomed into this, like, I don't look, I'm a man of height, so I can't relate to being a short
He's never had this problem.
But I dated plenty of chicks that were like 5'1" or like 5'0", and like, look, certain things look gigantic in a small person's hands.
I know.
Like there's a lot of advantages dating a short girl, but the like oh, guys, get your heads out of the guy. I was talking about quesadillas.
Sure.
I don't care, but again, I'm not short, so maybe I don't even ever think of that. But like, look at even the right, closet feminist. Here I want to share 57 seconds of two women whose collective age is 97, and one of them has never been married, and the other one has no kids. Now I want you to hear our conservative women talk about men and how the male dating scene is our problem, our fault.
It's a major problem. And, Speaker Johnson has been talking about those maybe deadbeat folks that are on Medicaid, and maybe some of those folks are the stay-at-home sons. We don't know. But I'll tell you this, leave it to Gen Z to rebrand laziness and social awkwardness as something cutesy, like a stay-at-home son. They did much the same thing with quiet quitting, where you can go to work and do less. And if you call it quiet quitting, it's somehow better. But Laura, I got to tell you, this is also a big problem when it comes to, I think, declining birth rates, people not getting married and having.
She has no kids. I just want to point that out. There are the annoying "you have no kids" people on X that say it to me. And I'm like, bruh, I'm not telling, I'm not a have more kids guy. I'm not a don't have kids guy. That's not my shtick. So when people say it to me, I'm like, what the fuck? Why are you telling me? I didn't say that. But this is a woman who isn't married on the left and a woman on the right who has never had kids. And now she's going to tell you men are the problem.
Children, that's a big problem. They blame it on women. Well, look at what young women have to choose from. The pickings are slim. Yes, we might have a feminism problem in America, but it's the feminization of men. There are a lot of young women out there that want to get married. They want to have kids. They want to have stable families.
No, I guarantee flipping to you. I look, I hang out at the bar. That bar, I mean, I talked about this in my video on it today. On a weekday, is full of men in their 30s who make $80,000 to $120,000 a year. They're like HVAC, they work on road crews, and every one of them is single. Don't tell me that there's like this abundance of women that want to get married. Like every one of these guys prays that they had a girlfriend. And like Tomi Lahren is a feminist, like confirmed. Either that or she's never talked to a single man in her life, because it is not that way at all. These men are desperate for a girlfriend. They'll date anybody, but they're all banging 9s and 10s on dating apps. And then by the time they get them, they got a high paying job and they're like, well, I don't want you. You have 2 kids out of wedlock and like everybody in town's had sex with you. I don't want to marry you. And then Tomi Lahren's like, men are the problem.
And the older they are, the more kind of trauma that they've been through, that they keep kind of reliving, and they keep, let's just be honest with ourselves. Let's just be real, making themselves not very suitable for partnership or relationship.
Yeah, they know. Yeah, men do this too. To be fair,
it's not just black and white. That's not always the rule here, but overwhelmingly, a lot of kind of successful men see kind of older women as kind of troubled people, because a lot of them are. And, there is a mental health issue crisis happening amongst women. And I think a lot of it is being just exacerbated through social media. And if you look at a lot of what social media put out there, especially on Instagram has a new feature where you could watch what your friends are watching. And I'm watching what like the women are watching that I have in my life, and all of them are watching this like crazy, insane nonsense saying men are all abusers, men are all manipulators, men are all evil, men are disgusting. And you kind of see this kind of mindset kind of come out through Tomi Lahren here, who clearly has the same mindset, blaming everything on men. And, not some introspection. Sure, there's a conversation to be had about the feminization of men and the testosterone levels going down and the reproduction.
But those guys were always single.
Down. Yeah, I think that's a legitimate conversation. But when it comes to relationships, women are the choosers of relationships, and they're the ones overwhelmingly choosing not to be in relationships and choosing F-boys and choosing, this kind of alone lifestyle that they are now prioritizing over, of course, the family. Guys always initiate, and I think guys always try to initiate relationships. The woman always chooses the relationship, and women have been choosing less than ever. There's new statistics that came out specifically highlighting how women are choosing to be single more than ever. There's now even more single women house owners than male single house owners now as well. And I think it's a big kind of scam meant to, of course, make sure that we don't have any children.
Well, and of course, when you bring up those statistics, a lot of women will say, well, why do we need men? We can earn our own money. All of the traditional incentives to pair off and get into marriage have gone away, right? Like women can have their own credit cards and money. I'm not saying that's bad. It's just changing the economic dynamics. There's not as much religious pressure. There's not as much social pressure. In fact, pressure socially is to stay single and wait forever to get the advanced degree, which includes going into higher amounts of student loan debt. It's to not let a man take anything from you, whatever. I think one of the problems that we have with dating, and it's across both genders, is that it's like a weird business negotiation. It's even though you have this option for love or for whatever, it's actually about how much can I get from you without giving anything. And I think men and women are both doing this. They face different obstacles, but so much of it is like a very strange negotiation about how much of my current life that I have can I maintain without, it going away. I don't know if you guys saw, Jack Posobiec's tweet the other day, talking about like if a man earns 100% of the income, should he be responsible for 50% of the household chores? And tons of debate in the comments, all very interesting on both sides, no matter where you land on that. But again, it comes down to this idea that we view the dating phase as a sort of very transactional and very independent experience. What can I get from this? What do I owe? What will I be obligated to essentially pay later or provide for this person? And that's ultimately leads people to a lot of loneliness. I think that it's one of the big tragedies that we have dating apps, which is that it makes everyone not human. I mean, the same way that people create these sort of fake relationships.
It's even more transactional
Online. It's extremely transactional. And you just swipe through and everyone is fake and pretend. They're right. It might as well be just like headshots from a generic AI casting agency. They're not real people to you. And I think that is part of the modern tragedy, which is like you have more choice than ever, but you don't have anything really steering your decisions. You lack the values and you lack the community to help you understand what you're trying to build with these people that are behind the screens.
Well, part of it too is, there's this huge.
I disagree. It's all woman's fault.
No, it's not.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
I'm acting like Tommy Lauren here.
Yeah.
Well, there's fault on both sides, and it's hard because the faults are different.
Well, men have.
I feel like women changed more than men, to be honest.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think they both changed a lot.
Men have a different set of things that they're trying to overcome because, like, what was it in 2023? 97% or 96% roughly of people hired in the S&P 500 were non-white males. 98%. It was, they say non-white, so then I would assume then half is female. So it's probably 98% of the people hired were not male. Men are dealing with a self-worth issue that is difficult to fix overnight. It was popular because we were told general, like, normal guy behavior was called toxic. Guys were told, hey, go to school and get a gender studies degree and graduate when you're 22 with 200 grand in debt. And then women are like, where's my house? And where's my, you can't, and obviously you can't afford a house. You got incredible debt. Men were told that jobs like HVAC and, the trades were not as desirable by media, mainstream feminism. You got to go get you got to be a whatever. I think people were getting
more glamour in being a pencil pusher at a corporate job.
You got to get a tech job.
Working with your hands.
Yes. Now, all those guys, to wrap up this segment, I would say, like, I have a lot of male friends in their late 30s that are single, make a ton of money, and they have what has happened is now they are no longer interested in dating. Yeah. Because every girl they meet has 4 luggages of baggage.
Issues and a list of demands that are sky high.
Well, I used to say to my friends, I'd be like, hey, you can't be so picky. Of course she's got a kid. She's almost 40 kind of thing. And they're like, no, I don't. I was like, oh yeah, you're right. You don't. You can be more picky. Like, and these guys all make 6 figures. And they're just opting out of the dating pool altogether. Because they're like, nah, I'll never find another girl who's an equal earner. Or, once you earn enough, now you're like, well, now she's going to just be with me for my money. There's a real toxic kind of sludge in the dating world right now.